Klaus Weber looked like an ordinary German metal worker. For months he worked at an ammunition factory in Essen, producing shells and bullets for the Nazi war machine. His fellow workers believed he was just a quiet widower, broken by the loss of his wife and daughter in an Allied bombing. His supervisors saw him as reliable, loyal, unremarkable, but Klaus carried a secret. Every shell casing he produced contained a microscopic flaw, invisible to inspectors but guaranteed to fail in battle. Rifles jammed, artillery shells misfired, and machine guns exploded in soldiers' hands. For 3 months he quietly crippled the weapons the Reich depended on. Reports from the Eastern Front began describing catastrophic weapon failures. German commanders suspected sabotage, and the Gestapo sent investigators to the Essen factory. A Nazi official, Hans Müller, had already been watching Klaus, noting tiny irregularities in his work. Soon black cars arrived outside the plant, carrying SS officers and engineers with advanced tools designed to detect even the smallest weaknesses in metal. Klaus knew he was running out of time, but his father Heinrich had prepared him for this. Heinrich was not only a master metalworker, he was also the founder of a secret resistance network that had infiltrated over 30 factories across Germany. For months, they had been coordinating sabotage that crippled production. Klaus was not alone, though he had never fully realized the scale of his father's plan. On March 15, 1945, the investigation reached its peak. Interrogations began, screams echoing through the factory offices. Klaus kept working, knowing it was only a matter of time before they came for him. At 3 in the afternoon, everything changed. Across the factory, hidden charges planted by resistance members detonated. Explosions ripped through the machinery, destroying critical equipment that could not be replaced. Flames consumed the plant. The Essen factory, one of the Reich's most important ammunition producers, was gone. Klaus, however, was captured. He was dragged before SS officer Ernst Richter, notorious for brutal interrogations. Under torture, Klaus admitted what the Gestapo feared most. He had not acted alone. His father's network spanned dozens of facilities, and together they had sabotaged thousands of weapons. The Gestapo had expected to catch a single traitor. Instead, they discovered proof of a widespread underground movement operating inside Hitler's own war machine. Klaus refused to give names. He took satisfaction in knowing the damage was already irreversible. On March 16, 1945, Klaus Weber and 7 other workers were executed by firing squad. Official records listed their deaths as the result of an industrial accident, but his impact was undeniable. Allied intelligence later estimated that the sabotage carried out by Klaus and his network shortened the war by 2 to 3 months, preventing the production of over 2 million rounds of ammunition. His techniques were so precise that German engineers never fully understood how he had done it. Klaus Weber's story remained hidden for decades, buried in classified reports and forgotten archives. Yet his quiet acts of defiance proved that even ordinary workers, armed with skill and courage, could strike devastating blows against one of the most powerful military machines in history. He died unknown, but every weapon that failed in 1945 carried his mark. He wasn't the terrorist everyone thought he was. For 14 years, Tom Mackenzie built bombs for the IRA, but every single one of them was designed to fail. What nobody knew was that this quiet man secretly saved 50,000 lives, while his own family believed he was a killer. And in exactly 14 years, his teenage daughter would ask one question that forced him to choose between saving 2,000 strangers or protecting the only people he truly loved. Belfast, 1973. The city was drowning in bombings, shootings, and fear. In a small basement workshop, Tom Mackenzie wired explosives with deadly precision. To his comrades, he was Silent Tom, the most trusted bomb maker in Belfast. To his wife Mary, he was a loyal soldier fighting for Ireland. But in reality, Tom wasn't building bombs to kill people. He was building them to fail. Each timer carried a hairline break in the circuit, invisible to the eye, but guaranteed to collapse milliseconds before detonation. The IRA believed Tom was their technical genius. British intelligence believed he was their most valuable secret asset. Tom knew only that this secret would one day destroy his family. What Tom didn't realize was that every bomb he sabotaged left behind microscopic evidence. Evidence that, in 9 years, an engineering graduate named Michael Quinn would discover, and it would nearly cost Tom his life. His path had begun in 1970, when his sister Catherine fell in love with a British soldier. She accidentally discovered classified documents, rules of engagement that would lead to civilian casualties. Declared a traitor by the IRA and disowned by her family, Catherine turned to Tom in desperation. Helping her meant betraying his community, but ignoring her meant letting innocents die. Tom chose to protect her. That choice drew the attention of British intelligence, who made him an offer: join the IRA, become their best bomb maker, and make sure the bombs never worked. From 1973 onward, 127 bombings failed because of him. To his comrades, he was invaluable. To the world, he looked like a terrorist. In truth, he was saving thousands. Yet his double life grew heavier each year. By 1985, Tom's greatest danger wasn't the IRA or the British, it was his own daughter. His 15-year-old Siobhan walked into his workshop one night and quietly asked, "Why do your bombs never work?" She had taken apart a timer and spotted the deliberate flaw, the same method Tom had used for over a decade. For the first time, he told her the truth. He explained Catherine, MI5, and the bombs designed to fail. Siobhan promised to keep his secret, but she too had one of her own. British intelligence had already contacted her. And when Tom's cover was blown, it would be her decision that saved him. In December 1987, the IRA prepared its deadliest operation yet, a bomb at the Manchester Christmas market, designed to kill over 2,000 people. Tom was ordered to build it. For the first time, he could not safely sabotage it. Security was too strict, the plan too tightly controlled. So he designed 2 timers, one for the market and another to explode in his workshop hours earlier, killing him but exposing the plot. Before he could carry out his sacrifice, Quinn and armed men stormed his workshop. After years of studying Tom's devices, Quinn had pieced it together. Silent Tom had betrayed the IRA from the very beginning. Tom was dragged into interrogation. But then Siobhan appeared with a letter she had found hidden in the family's Christmas tree. It was from David Harrison, Tom's handler, but it wasn't addressed to him. It was addressed to her. The letter revealed that Catherine was still alive and working as an agent. Siobhan herself had been under British protection for years. And Tom's entire mission had always been part of something larger, dismantling the networks that profited from endless war. In 1988, Tom Mackenzie died under brutal interrogation, never revealing his fellow agents. Hidden records in his workshop later told the real story. 127 bombs sabotaged, 47 weapons shipments disrupted, and over 50,000 lives saved. His wife Mary never knew the truth. His son grew up believing Tom died a soldier. But Siobhan carried on his legacy, using the evidence he left behind to help dismantle war profiteers and pave the way for peace in Northern Ireland. Silent Tom never became a hero in the history books, but his quiet sabotage shaped a future where children could grow up without fear of bombs. The world's greatest heroes are often the ones no one ever knows. During the Vietnam War, America's greatest losses did not come from the enemy, they came from within. For years, a soldier celebrated as a hero, Sergeant Mike Thompson, was in fact a deep-cover Soviet agent. For 18 months, he sabotaged operations from the inside, sending hundreds of American soldiers to their deaths. When he was finally caught, the revelations shook the military and rewrote the rules of counterintelligence. In June 1967, north of Saigon, CIA officer Captain David Martinez summoned his most trusted man. Thompson's record was spotless. 15 missions, 0 casualties. He listened carefully as Martinez laid out the details of a crucial new operation. He asked questions, voiced concern for troop safety, and gave the impression of a dedicated American patriot. That night, however, in the privacy of his quarters, Thompson opened a hidden transmitter. A voice with a Moscow accent asked, "Asset Nightingale, what do you have for us?" Thompson transmitted everything: timing, coordinates, extraction routes. But Thompson wasn't only passing information. He was subtly reshaping mission plans. He suggested new routes that led directly into ambushes. He recommended equipment changes that would weaken defenses. He volunteered for roles that gave him the opportunity to sabotage at decisive moments. To his commanders, these sounded like brilliant tactical ideas. To the Viet Cong, they were a gift. At dawn, 37 American soldiers marched straight into a trap. As bullets tore through the jungle, Thompson played his part perfectly, returning fire, pulling wounded comrades to safety, shouting orders like a true hero. 7 men died. 3 survived thanks to Thompson's apparent bravery. His legend as a soldier grew, even as he delivered more victories to the enemy. Operation after operation collapsed. Steel Rain, Thunder Road, Mountain Strike, each ended in blood and loss. Each time, Thompson's courage under fire reinforced his spotless reputation. To the Americans, he was a hero. To the KGB, as Vladimir Petrov, he was priceless. But not everyone was convinced. Staff Sergeant James Walsh, a counterintelligence specialist, noticed the pattern. Thompson's fingerprints were on every failed mission. Walsh monitored secret radio traffic and found unusual signals late at night, coming from Thompson's quarters. He compiled a report. The irony was cruel. The report crossed Thompson's own desk. The traitor erased the evidence and arranged for Walsh to be reassigned to a remote outpost. The threat was neutralized. That was until a new commander arrived. Colonel Patricia Hayes, an expert in counterintelligence, reviewed every failed mission. She reached the same conclusion Walsh had months earlier. One man connected them all. She devised a trap. Thompson was fed false intelligence about a major upcoming operation. The Viet Cong, believing him, prepared for a battle that never happened. Meanwhile, Hayes sent American forces along an entirely different route. For once, it was the enemy who was caught off guard. The Americans won a stunning victory, and in the aftermath, Hayes revealed the truth. Mike Thompson was no American hero. He was Vladimir Petrov, a GRU officer who had infiltrated the CIA under a false identity. He had lived among them, fought beside them, and betrayed them at every turn. But the most chilling revelation was this. Petrov was not alone. There were at least a dozen more deep-cover Soviet agents scattered throughout the American military. Thompson's capture was not the end of the betrayal. It was only the beginning of the largest intelligence war of the Cold War.